okay with everyone. So, welcome again. I'm going to start off by framing this whole process. We'll speak a little bit about what is the vision for these next few months. And that's then leading up to the first breakout room, where we'll be asking you to discuss the question, what is the difference of holding a hackathon in this way? What's the impact of that? Then when we come back from the breakout rooms, we will have a few minutes to ask for some contributions, if anything came up from your groups that you'd like to share. And then we will pass over to Delphi, who will explain the learning process. We've touched on this a little bit in the taster calls, but now we'll be going a level deeper and going into detail about each phase and how it's structured. Then I'll spend a little bit of time on an overview of the tools that we're going to bring into this, but I'm not going to go into much detail because that's coming up next week. So I'll just gloss over it very quickly, but we're really excited to share that with you. Then we'll go into a second breakout room, and the question for that exercise is, what's calling for change in your community? And there's a little bit longer for that 20 minutes instead of 15. And then we'll come back into this main group for a Q&A and kind of closing everything off. There's also an announcement to be made from Megan. So without further ado, and welcome again to everyone else who has just joined. The aims of this enrollment process is threefold. We want you to learn how to participate in a self-organizing hackathon. The wording there is very intentional. Participation really means a lot for us, and we're excited to share that with you in the coming weeks. And we'll be learning together in how to participate in a self-organizing system, in this case, a hackathon. Another outcome aim is to learn a new approach to project development. We're taking a different angle on how to work as technical teams, how to work on your projects, how to write code even. We'll be sharing repeatedly about these differences in approach, but it's really this phase of the enrollment process to sort of digest that, to take it on board as preparation for the hackathon phase, which comes after. And the third outcome aim that I want to speak to is that this is about exploring the potential in your community. This is a time period to kind of sit with these prompts of engaging in a new way of observing your communities, and to get curious about how you can see that anew in your places. What enables my local community to thrive, and how can I make that a reality? FYI, I've added a little reference to a link. These are all resources that we'd like to share after the call, as well as the slides. So if there's any questions about that, just know that there's more on the way. Okay, so this is not your typical tech-focused hackathon. This is something that we've said repeatedly during the tasters, but this slide is kind of really listing some of the key differences between this and a conventional approach to working on a hackathon. There's really a lot we can go into in each point here, and so feel free to just take a few minutes to read through those. We'll keep coming back to this over the course of the weeks. One of the key things is that this is as much about social organizing as it is about technology and writing code. It's as much about learning how to form organizations in a living systems way. And that comes from kind of many lineages of systems change practices and social movements. And we're excited to share these with you as we go. I suppose the key thing that I want you to remember is that you can go, there's many levels to this, there's many layers, and you can go deeper and deeper into that, kind of guiding yourself to learn more as much as you'd like to. And we really encourage that for you. That's one of the ways that you can get the most out of this process. Lastly, also just seeing this last point on the end, this is about your story. A lot of how we're structuring this is for it to come from you. And that's really important because a story is something very holistic. There's so much about how a story takes shape, as well as how you can present and tell that story. And I want you to think in terms of what's the best story that we can make from this over the next few weeks. That's also complemented by the technology that we're going to bring into this. It's about publishing a story, a collective story, and hopefully that starts to really come alive for you in the following weeks. This is one image that I'm offering to hold in mind to help think about that. One of the key differences in how we're approaching hackathons and forming organizations is we're coming from a background in regenerative design, which means how can we work with systems regeneratively? And that's a lot. There's a whole field. There's a lot more that we can say there. But one of the key concepts I want to introduce at this stage is this idea of nested systems. So on the screen, you see systems within systems. WADA, our dear collaborators, are one level in that whole organizational stack. The summit itself is also part of a larger system. Every hub is a part of this larger hub network that we're collectively making. So these are some questions that I've shared on screen for you to think about and reflect on that. And with the image, I'm hoping that you can sort of feel into it a little bit. Another way of saying this is that this is about bottom-up organizing. This is not something top-down. That's why we can't say to you what it is that you should build. Because as soon as we do that, it's kind of reintroducing this this assumption that we know what's best, which is absolutely not the case. We don't know. And what's the implications of that? As we go into the breakout exercise in a few minutes, that's one of the things that you can reflect on. What does it really mean when we're part of this collective process that's coming from the bottom up? How does that shift how you think about the summit? I think it's a huge opportunity to not only be part of this process together, but also have a huge stage at which we're going to arrive at and present some really strong showcases of really beautiful projects. So this is something that we'll keep coming back to, this notion of nested systems, because once you can see in that way, you can start seeing connections between things and finding alignment that will really pull you and your teams forwards. And it's a very powerful way of unlocking emergence. And so how we're approaching facilitating these hackathons is to create the conditions that can enable that. And yeah, we'll keep coming back to this over time, but I wanted to share this with you and invite you to reflect on this as well. Okay, this is the end of the first part. We're now going to go into a breakout room. This is 15 minutes. You're going to be in groups of about 3 to 4, and this is the overarching guiding question. What is the impact of holding a hackathon in this way? What's the new potential that you can see for engaging in this kind of a process? What does it mean for you to be working in terms of those alignment of those nested systems from your community, from the ground up?
Should I send them tabs?
Yes, unless there's anything else that you want to add, we can bring people into those breakout rooms. Yeah, all I'll say is please do engage in this. Please bring as much of yourselves forward into this room as possible. I know many of you will be new to each other, but please trust yourselves to really bring things forward that mean something to you. Because again, this is about bottom up. So the more that we can align around a common vision of how we can each bring ourselves into this, the more powerful it's going to be, the more emergent it's going to be.
Okay. So opening the rooms, and I notice I have some participants that just came in. Hopefully they'll be led by other participants. So we have a piece. Are you there? Richmond.
And
Hi, Sandra.
okay, my name is Sandra Bernard, and I'm speaking from Nigeria. I think the impact of holding a hackathon like this nested ensures that there's cross-cutting of exposure. I could meet someone or be paired with someone or connect with someone who has a different experience, and we pick each other's brain to the extent of our knowledge, and we learn from each other. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were showing your slide, you spoke about climate and sustainability, I think. I think that's what drew my attention to this, because the idea Keep is building is towards decentralized storage, which, with the rate of carbon burn these days, I think energy efficiency and reduced carbon footprint is very necessary if we're going to keep the earth sustainable. So I think towards that is going to be an interesting hackathon where sorry, hello?
Hello. Keep going. Keep going.
Hello? Sorry, guys, can you guys hear me?
We
Yes.
can, yes. Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so I think it's going to be a very interesting hackathon, because in the course of each stage, our thoughts are going to be geared towards ideas, fantastic ideas, in fact, but one that is not just realistic, but sort of promotes what keeps the earth running. If we are thinking about next level ideas that is going to enhance human living, climate improvements, and decrease how much we are killing the earth.
Mm. Mm. Yes, I love that. Were you finished?
Right. I think this should be in the new sword. It's something I'll truly enjoy and will be truly impactful in the long run.
Amazing, amazing. I don't know if it was my connection or Sandra's that wobbled there, but I think I caught everything. And thank you for that contribution, Sandra. I heard a lot of things in what you said that were really resonant. Cutting across exposure, cross-cutting exposure, connecting with someone that has a different experience, and the themes of climate change, sustainability, and decentralized storage. I just want to highlight how important decentralized storage is in connection with narrative and story, which is a very important theme across all of our processes. Just think about that of sovereign narratives. Okay, so we have a couple of minutes before we move on to Delphi's section to introduce the learning arcs. Would anyone else like to share something that came up from your breakout rooms? Anything that you want to highlight and bring into the main room? Anything that was really of interest where you thought, wow, this really resonated with me, or I hadn't thought of it in that way before? Feel free to just unmute and share with the rest of the room.
Oh, okay. I would like to say something that one of my room members said, agricultural solution. One of those things that we are going to benefit from this hackathon, because if you look at most of the places, most of our environments, we actually don't have the farmers, they don't have the right ownership to their data. So through this hackathon, we believe that we'll be able to create a platform whereby the farmers can record their events, that is planting, yielding, and the sales that they make. They will have full access to their data, and they will be able to get an AI agent that can check the weather, price, buyers and logistics, and every other this thing for them. Then we also talked about that some environments, some area, we have an internet problem. So through this hackathon, we will be able to like get solution, and as we are going back to our different location, we'll be able to see how we can come up with solution. And we also talked about networking when it has to do with our career, skill development, and the economic growth. Thank you.
Awesome. I love that. So many strong themes in there. Yeah, farmers are like such a foundational pillar of society. Absolutely. Zanes, if I pronounce your name correctly, go for it.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, Zanis is correct. So in my breakout room, while we were discussing on the impact of this way of holding an hackathon, we were able to reach a couple of taglines that summarizes our whole view as to how this manner of holding an hackathon will impact in general. So the first one was inclusiveness, and the second one was variation. So now variation basically allows from the structure. Yeah, I like that we're having this picture on board because it was this picture that we used in our discussion. So if you can see, it goes from projecting to orbs to WADA, and we see, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but WADA seems to be like the crux of connection that leverages us to the summit, and the summit projects us like towards like the global stage. Yeah, so we talked about how this way of holding the hackathon brings about evolution, like we are setting the frameworks. And what I noticed about this is that this method, should I call it a method, or this concept of holding an hackathon is actually infrastructure intensive, and this infrastructure is not restrictive in terms of what projects you are actually going to bring. That's why we use the word of variation. So we know people are going to be joining this project or this hackathon from different corners of, let's say Africa, for example. And people have different backgrounds, and we want them to bring their story into the project that they're actually going to be building while leveraging technology and nature together. So that integration seems like a very solid move. So in conclusion, this way of holding the hackathon is basically going to bring about inclusiveness, variation, evolution, as well as it's going to be a starting point for um, setting a framework on integrating nature and technology. So, thank you.
Wow, that was awesome. I absolutely loved that explanation. Thank you so much for that, Zanes. Which hub or which region are you based in, just out of interest?
Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria.
Awesome. Awesome. Wow, cool. Amazing. Yeah, that's got me super excited. Like, I can't tell you how resonant that is. And that's why I like using images as well, because it allows people to sort of feel into it more than you might do with words that are so literal. You know how they say a picture says 1,000 words. Amazing. So now I will pass over to my dear colleague Delphina, and yeah, I'm not going to say any more. Over to you, Delphi.
Thank you, Tabs. I was thinking that maybe because we are going to speak a little bit about the learning process that we're going to go through during the hackathons, that each one of you has a very unique community, and maybe we can name ourselves, like our name, like Delfina, the community that we are part of and the country, so that we know a little bit where are you coming from, and we can see sort of the diversity of people that we have in this space here. We are 44 participants, so it's going to be interesting to have everyone else name. I'm Delfina, and I am from Buenos Aires, from Argentina. So that's my community. And let me tell you a little bit about the learning process. The learning process is because we want you to walk your streets, your roads, your place, your local community. We design a very specific learning process that allows you to really capture and evoke whatever is happening within your local communities. What are those challenges? What are those problem statements and so on? But also to work collectively, to share it with others, and then to act upon that, to create something, a service, a product that really speaks into the potential of your community. And as you can see, and this is sort of a brief understanding of the learning process, you have a main arc. The main arc is that we really capture and evoke what is happening within your local community and design something that serves the potential of that community. That's it. That's the main purpose. But to do so, we have like different steps that we want to work with you, and we want to ask you to sort of bring in so that we see that going on. So main arc, as I said before, really tapping in your community potential. And I remember I remember working with Tabs for quite a bit, and we realized that each local community has a very different potential. So Buenos Aires is very different in its own ecosystem and bioregion and how people interact with each other than Accra, for example. So because it's unique, we need to really understand what is that uniqueness about and what are the challenges and the problem statements of that community. And in doing so, we are going to ask you to start exploring. So can you Tabs pass to the first learning arc? The first learning arc is the sense of place. It's really walking through your community. It's really sort of disconnecting from the problems and the challenges that you see already, and walk your community with new eyes. Note what calls your attention, what is different, than the usual sightseeings of your community. Sometimes we think that we know the challenges that our community has, but maybe there needs to be another process going in. And I don't know if many of you went to or were able to participate in our last teaser call, but in that one, Abdul Rahman explained a challenge that he saw at the very beginning, which was floods within his community, and he realized that it was connected to waste management, and his project responded to waste management, and then that was a way of sort of creating a solution for those floods. So this is the first step of sensing the place: is walk your community with new eyes. The second step is collect narratives. Your neighbors, the people that you relate with, the people that have maybe a small shop on the corner, or that the ones that are holding the school and so on, will know a lot about your community as well. And they can bring new information that you haven't acknowledged yet. And this is really, really important. So collect narratives, talk to your neighbors, and then map your community most important stakeholders. If you have a church, or if you have a religious institution near your community, or within your community, if you have a social club. Here, social clubs in Buenos Aires are very, very important for football, for example. That's why we kind of are good at football. But all of those institutions really speak to what a community is. So exploring that is really, really important. And all of these steps will be, what we will be asking of you is, we're going to have a tool, and you're going to be collecting all this information so that we afterwards can share it and create or start to practice teaming up with all of that information. Tabs, can you pass me to the next slide? Great. So emergent learning. The meaning of emergent learning is that we are learning as we go. As you get the information that you have of your community, you're going to see patterns. You're going to see that something is arising from that community. And if you share it with others that are walking your same community, or that want to walk with you that process, you're going to sort of distill that information in a much rich way. Why? Because one perspective is not the same as many perspectives. In diversity, there's always richness. And this is what we are calling for in this session. This is going to be sort of understanding the data, going into insights, creating hypotheses. Is these themes that are coming up from my local community, the problem statements that I want to develop? And then we're going to be asking you to, within your team, to choose one problem statement, one theme that you're going to be working on to develop something that serves that theme, a product, an app, a service, whatever it is, it's coming up for you. So as you can see, we don't have any answers. We have the learning process, and you have all the answers, and we are just going to walk with you through this process. Can you go to the third one, the next one, Tabs, the third learning arc? This learning arc is the one that I really like, because it's putting into practice. It's really putting your hands on what is happening, on what you're seeing, on creating with others, is where you're going to be integrating the Cardano skills that you need in order to deliver something that is so powerful that you might blow everyone's mind in your community. So this is exact moment, or the one that everyone is going to be coding, is going to be doing stuff. The interesting thing about these 3 learning arcs, as you can see here, or this main learning arc, is that you're going to be doing very special things at each time and within a pace, and you're going to do it in your own time. You're going to be the one that is going to be self-organizing to deliver this. And we're going to be walking with you, because the timings of your community, the workings on how you work with teams and how you create those products, it's all about your own inner timing. And we are in service of that. And can you pass the next one? Okay. And this is back to Tabs. But before we go back to you, Tabs, is there any question, any urgent need of speaking into this space and asking anything that you like about the learning process? The good thing is next session, the second enrollment gathering, we're going to be speaking about the tools that you're going to be developing within your hubs, with your teams. So this will make much more sense in the way that we are going to be collecting all this data and sort of really making meaning of it.
Yes. Am I up?
Yeah, you're up.
All right. Amazing. So yeah, I'm gonna give a quick overview of the tools that we want to bring into this, and I'm gonna go off script and I'm gonna go direct, and I'm gonna say that one of the coolest tools that we have is what we're calling timelining, and this is about enabling you all to contribute insights and ground truths about your communities and the systems that you're working on in the form of voice notes. So how does that look when we sort of translate that onto this structure? It could look a bit like that. And Zanes was mentioning projecting us onto the global stage of the summit. And I think that's just such a powerful idea. And that's why I named it Projecting, not Projects, because it's an ongoing process of bringing yourselves and your work forwards. And I want to demo something very early stage, which shows how this looked for our last event, which took place in Accra in Ghana. We had 416 voice note contributions over the course of 2 weeks. And what we did is we generated vector embeddings for that. We basically translated it to be able to prompt this process as a whole or query this process as a whole. And it can what were some of the highlights? It can very powerfully reflect from all of these different perspectives of, I think we had about 25 participants on average, all able to contribute in a way that's as accessible as sending a voice note. Now, the reason why this diagram has these red dots here, red dotted circles, is because we actually want to deploy several applications to your own hub's cloud instances. There was this theme of decentralized storage systems that came up, and that's super powerful because we don't want to have the storage centralized around ourselves. And I think for you to be hosting your own systems is really important. So that was a little off-script, improvised sneak peek of what's to come. I hope that felt exciting. But yeah, basically, we're going to be deploying to the hubs that we're facilitating with what we're calling a publishing stack. And that's to enable you to publish your stories of the work that's happening on the ground. It's part of bringing really powerful showcases into the summit. Timelining is something that we'll detail further in the future, and custom integrations are basically what you could build and plug into this to communicate your work. You can think of the publishing stack as creating an environment where you can communicate the work from multiple different perspectives. We'll go into the details later. but think of it as an ongoing story-making process, driven by your participation. So that's why we mentioned it's super important at the beginning. Okay, breakout rooms. This one is a little longer, 20 minutes, and we've shared a lot of content now. So please try to stay in your rooms a little bit, maybe. Obviously, you're all free to do as you like. Yeah, 20 minutes to reflect on the question, what's calling for change in your community? The reason why we're bringing this up at this stage is because, like we've been saying, you're each going to decide for yourselves what you want to work on. We're going to guide you in how to identify that by trying to bring in this sort of mode of observation to see systems. And this is just to plant a seed. This is just to get the conversation started. I also want to highlight that there's both hubs and participants in these breakout rooms. So if you want to play into the differentiation of those roles, that might make things a little bit interesting, because going forwards, that dialogue between hub and participants is absolutely crucial. The hubs are, I can't say how important the role of the hubs is. It's like an acupuncture point in the local region. They're there holding this whole process for you as well, guiding you, being a container for you. So yeah, let's get into it. What's calling for change in your community?
Good. I'll send everyone. Please stay in your room and have a sort of a significant conversation if you can. Bring your own community and the ideas that you have already. And we'll see you here and have a little bit of a chat and have Q&A, so we can speak a little bit about any doubts that you're having so far. So there you go, groups of 5.
I'm going to broadcast the message again.
Yeah, please. Okay. We have a big room though.
Well, lots of people still here.
We have Lydia is here, Dominion is here, David, Devin, Precious. Remember to join your rooms.
Yeah.
William, Salomon.
Good evening. Sorry. Actually, I don't understand why I am still here. My network broke off and I joined back again. But then I thought it would have sent me to my room.
Let me try and send you back.
You check the options. Is there an option to say join room or something?
Not by their own.
Okay.
It's interesting because, for example,
I'm trying to find. Okay, I'm gonna put him into a different room.
Okay, so Solomon speaking. Can you direct me to my room? I think I saw it, but I mistakenly tapped cancel instead of trying to join.
Yes.
Okay. Let me find you. Okay.
Yeah, I am happy lead for Tamale, which is noted as Novbit.
There you go. I just send you to a room.
Oops. Can you do that?
Who else? Solomon, you're still here. Have
Yeah.
you seen my? Okay. I think maybe we should use this as a room.
Okay,
Okay.
I got it. I got it. Okay, that's room 8 for me. I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you try doing whatever you just did, Delphi, with Fawaz as well?
I did actually. I sent him to room
6, and I
3.
was redirected back automatically when I got there.
Number 4.
Okay.
For us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sweet.
There you go. We are with Emmanuel and Lydia. Lydia, are you there? Emmanuel, are you there?
I'm here.
Can I send you to a room?
Yes, that's fine by me.
Okay. Room number 2.
I'm liking how this is going.
What?
I feel good.
Okay. I think for the first session, I think we're fine. We actually, not many people has left. We have almost the same amount as the beginning. We had at a point 46 participants.
Mm-hmm. How do you send them to the room?
You recreate the room, you put them in a room, and then if they leave their own room, I'm gonna stop this.
Most especially in our distance, our schools nowadays, they give them tablets to study, and that is like okay, that will bring something like best understanding and how to live within the world, because the world is turning to something else. Let's say it's now a modern world. Everything is about computing and all that. So for them getting this opportunity to get tablets and being like they give them chance to use them to study appropriately. And I was suggesting that if there is a team that goes around like that teaches them and can go around and lecture them, I mean, like maybe the rules or principles to follow, that will develop their minds and make things easy, and can also help them to develop the world or develop the community without knowing, because they infuse or they put something into their heads that can help build the community without even knowing. I hope I'm making sense.
Where are the teachers or the lecturers coming from?
Lecturers and teachers, they are maybe they are focusing on their distance, their syllabus, subjects they are assigned to teach. And my suggestion was like, if there could be a group, maybe from Luma or from some organization, that can add maybe it's a subject about how to deal with hackathon and how to bring changes in the schools as a subject. I think that would have helped to develop the communities we find ourselves in.
Where would the teachers be learning from?
The teachers. Okay. Some I think they had their studies within the country, and some get the opportunity to go outside the distance and gather ideas too.
So they would be learning from their local environment.
Yes. But the application is the problem. They will just teach how to use it. Practicals are not taking it serious.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone. We are back. Yeah, Lukman was telling us a little bit about his own challenge. And yeah, and maybe someone else can bring as well what they have been speaking in your rooms, what is calling for change. Was it a question that allow you to think differently, maybe? Sanis, do you want to go?
Can I go? Can I speak?
William?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay, go on, and then Sanis is hopefully coming back.
Oh yeah, group, we were talking about the challenges that we face mostly here in Africa. The common challenges that we face in our communities, especially, is the unfair distribution of funds, and this unfair distribution of funds actually brings about a lot of challenges. It touches into healthcare. It also touches into the morale of the young, and the old. It also disturbs the way systems work, especially in government systems. So the best we could do is find a solution on how these funds can reach the intended people or the intended community. You might find that the government releases funds, but instead of those funds going into water reticulation challenges, the funds are actually diverted for other use, and this brings about a lot of problems in our community. I think Precious can also add something on what I've said.
Thank you, William. Yeah, that's a good challenge to take on, especially if you are able to involve other stakeholders in that thinking of how can this be a little bit more equitable for everyone. Sanis, do you want to go? Sanis was first. He will go, and then I'll give the microphone to you. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening once again. So in my breakout room, while we were discussing, the discussion we had that included myself and Isa and Erin. So before the breakout room ended, Isa mentioned that the way I like to say my stuff is in like point lines or taglines. So he mentioned about, or he talked about SDG goals, that whatever we are doing has to like, or the work of the community. Sorry, the community responses are all like kind of inclined with the SDG goals. Then Erin mentioned that in our own community, the feedback she got was that economic empowerment is highly like necessary. That's our answer to the question that we were discussing in the breakout room. So before the breakout room ended, she was kind of like trying to like put us on our story regarding that. I don't know if Erin wouldn't mind like kind of putting us on that story, because like we kind of missed out on that.
So, Sanes, can I ask you something? How was it to listen that story in the way that she was telling it?
Yeah, that's the thing. She didn't get to finish. She did not even really get to start. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, so
We will have more time next time.
okay.
I don't know. Yeah, just because I'm
But
conscious
economic
of time.
empowerment.
But you're going to be all connected through the Telegram chat. And also we will have 2 enrollment calls more. So I'm excited to listen as well, what each one of you needs to bring to the conversation. So we will have time for that. I want to appreciate that you had that conversation and I know that someone got left out in a way, and I'm sorry for that. Sandra, do you want to go?
Yes, hi. It was quite interesting, the breakout we had. We had various problems answering the question to, touch on the initial conversation we're having about different experiences. It was very evident in our room breakout because 3 out of 5 of us got the chance to express what we think needs change or is calling for change in our environment. And one person spoke about agriculture, the shortage of availability to make sales, track progress, track crop building, and also being in touch with technology. The other person mentioned, so those were like more of the issues they think needs change. Another thing that I brought on to the conversation was about insecurity in this part of Africa, Nigeria, and Africa at large. Insecurity in data protection, insecurity in transparent government bills, government rules, different categories of data, especially in this day and age where the value of data keeps coming up, and it's almost worth gold right now, especially in this age of artificial intelligence and how much data they need to train to enhance human living. So those are part of the conversations we had and the topics that we feel are calling for change and things we were hoping to build on.
Really powerful topics, eh? Thank you for sharing, Sandra. And we have just a few minutes more. So I think we should go to Q&A. I know that you don't have yet the full picture because we have 2 more enrollment calls. But is there any question, anything that you would like to ask about the learning process, about the tools, about the way that we hold hackathons, about anything that is emerging for you right now?
None from my end.
Okay. So I think we are, okay. Mermos, am I pronouncing it well? Because I feel I'm pronouncing it in a very Spanish way. But that's how it's pronounced in here.
Yeah, it's memos. Yeah, it's
Mermos.
the way
Okay,
it's
thank
yeah.
you. Go on, it's your time.
Okay. I had a question. Is how do we access the data from the people that enroll into our hubs? Because I created a hub on the platform, but I don't know when the people are registering. I don't get any notification, any email. I cannot have their contact so that maybe I can contact them in case they need more clarification on some stuff, or because I'm here in Chang. It's a university city. We have some platforms at the university, so we broadcast the information over there, and some people are registering, but we don't know who is registering, in what capacity, if they really want, how is their level of interest, whatever. We don't have on the ground. We don't have that information.
Good. Tabs is going to answer you that question because I can't, but he knows how.
Okay.
So yes, I just recently added a page into the docs, which is an embed of the data. and there's one for participants and one for hubs. In the participant page, you can see all of the participants categorized by hubs, and there you'll be able to see the participants. At the moment, I've kept the data very minimal to not disclose anything sensitive, but I can add more of the fields here so you can see kind of what their motivation was for joining and things like that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else from anyone? Please feel free to ask any question. We absolutely love questions. Gideon.
Okay, so my question is, at this point, are all the participants meant to have a team right now? That's my question.
No. Is the short answer. You will be forming teams through the process. We have built up, or there's a lot of ways that teams can form. One of the clearest ways is for them to form around a purpose, and that's something that you will identify in the coming weeks. So it's absolutely okay if you have no team yet.
Hello, I have a question.
Hello, go for it.
So I was inquiring if it's advisable. So I currently have a team, and we registered as participants.
Yes.
So is it advisable to register as participants or as a hub? But so we were asking if we registered as individual participants, we're allowed to form teams later on.
Yes. Yeah. That's absolutely fine. It's fine to register as participants.
Can I add something? It's
Okay,
much
sorry
more.
to cut you. Please, sorry to cut you short. I already have a team, and we are registered as participants individually. That's very fine. Okay, right?
Yes, that's absolutely fine.
Okay.
It is also. It's much interesting when you start seeing this problem statements of your local community, and then teams sort of gather around those, which are purpose. Right, the interests that move you is quite different in how we organize teams that by proximity, in if I like this person or I don't like that person, right? So just a suggestion.
Can I quickly jump in before Laurentine? So regarding Tevin's question, if they haven't registered as a hub, would they appear in the list of hub selection?
No, if they've not registered as a hub, they will not appear as a hub for selection.
Yeah, so Tevin, can you make sure that you register as a hub, and maybe is there a space on the hub enrollment for additional comments that maybe they can list the people that have registered as participants? Because one of the ways that we are using to select hubs is the number of participants that have registered and enrolled. Does that make sense? And really, I'm talking to, is it possible for Tevin to supply additional information, maybe in the Telegram group if it's not on the enrollment form? But I'm thinking that it would be important for them to be recognized first as a hub so that they can enter into that pipeline for selection.
Yes, thank you, Marcy. The link for the hub was, I think it expired, but thank you for raising that matter. Thank you.
Okay, Laurentine.
Sorry, I have a question. Sorry, please. Is
Um,
Steven registering as a hub because he already has a team? Is that the reason why he needs to register as a hub?
no.
Because I think a couple other participants here.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you for the clarification question, Sandra. If you are a team, you're registering as participants. A hub is if you are a physical space and you're going to host a hackathon. It's a very different role. Okay, Laurentine, thank you for your patience.
Okay, thank you. Today is the deadline for participant registration, and I would like to know if it could be extended, and if not, is it possible for other participants to join later? Because there are community members who, we could not reach them. I'm sure maybe other hubs also have the same problem. Is it possible that even after the deadline, we could still, allow other people to join the hackathon?
Yes, yeah, great question. We are allowing for further registrations after today. We're recognizing that today was communicated as a deadline, and so it's sort of noted as a different time that they registered, but they can still register. And the next key date is the 1st of November when the hackathon phase starts. We shift into a different phase. So it's really important to try and get as many people registered before then, and also to engage in the enrollment process where they'll learn about this whole program. If they join later, it's going to take a little bit more for them to kind of onboard. Some people will also be further ahead, so they can help with that. So yeah, as soon as possible is my guidance, but it's also okay a little bit later.
I want to please, thank you. I wanted to ask another question before. Yeah, sorry for interrupting. Yeah,
No.
I think I raised the issue in the group, in the WhatsApp group. We belong to have WhatsApp group, and it's about the fact that we have two. We have my hub, for instance, is two book so we have it two. Two hubs. It's supposed to be merged. I raised the issue. Somebody answered, but this evening I check is still there like that. Yeah, the participants are different. So if it is possible to merge them, we only registered one hub in Burkina Faso, in so yeah, and all the participants in both groups are our community members. So, and they are not the same people. The names don't repeat. So if you can merge that group, those two groups, thank you.
Yes, pd.merge if you're in. I'm still muted. Yes,
Sorry, I keep on muting you because I want to mute myself. I'm sorry, but I wanted, before giving the next person, I want to say something that is really relevant, and then it might be missing in this whole question aspect, or if people come in and join afterwards. This enrollment calls, what we are seeing today and the next 2 Thursdays, are gonna allow you to have the most successful hackathon. Is sort of, they are keystones for developing a project that is really, really comprehensive and systemic and deep and powerful. So I just want to say that, so that we don't, if anyone comes late, maybe join someone that has been in the beginning of it, because this bit is really, really important. Yeah. For what? Do you want to go?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. In fact, I've really enjoyed the session. I have a hub. I'm just a member of the owners of the hub, but they are very active when it comes to organizing Web3 programs and hackathons in general. Now, I happened to see the hub registration late, but then I informed the CEO about it. And when he checked, it was already too late for him to register. I don't know whether there will be an opportunity for him to register the hub. It is Hacker Boost. If we check I rename myself as Boaz Hacker Boost, and it is a very vibrant community in Tamale. It has its own hub, and it has been hosting hackathons for the past years. And I think it will be a very good hub to consider when we are registering on hub. I don't know whether there will be an opportunity for them to still register the hub.
Yeah, good question. Okay, so that's the second time I'm hearing about reopening the hub registration form. That's something that we'll have to discuss and decide on offline. What I can also offer is there is another stakeholder type of partners. And I was hearing a little bit like maybe this hub that you're referring to could actually be a partner of your hub and your work. Just something to consider. We haven't opened that forum yet, but it's also an option.
Sorry, sir, to chip in. Please, if that one is open, how do we get notified that it is open for them to apply?
We will definitely notify you. The best space, the way that you can give yourself the best chance of being up to date on all of the communications is to join the Telegram group. It's mostly from Telegram that we will be now communicating, especially during this phase as we enter into the enrollment now. But we'll try to sort of share the communication far and wide if we do that, and make sure everyone hears about it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. William, what is it that you would like to bring?
Yes, I heard in your presentation you talked about forming groups and also hubs. And yes, I know we have a hub here in Zambia, which is MIBT, and we have our teams there. So are you saying that during the hackathon we'll have to disband our team and then recreate groups as we are doing our projects?
There's no need from our side for you to disband any groups, no. I'm not sure if I understand your question. What was it that made you think that a given group might need to disassemble?
I heard you state that we'll be in groups, so I thought maybe the groups will be formed from your end.
No, you will form the groups yourselves. So if you're already part of a group, you can continue as so.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Mermos, do you want to go? I just want to acknowledge that we are past the hour that we set for ourselves. So if anyone wants to leave, just go. We will still record this and everyone will have this if they want to watch it later. Mermos, do you want to start?
Sure, thank you. My question was related to the language. Here in our local community, people really don't speak English. So I had some people sending their information to one of our hub manager for him to actually register them into the platform. And that has been kind of a havoc we've been having. Is there any way we can have that registration form in French?
Great question. Yes. The answer has to be yes. We will endeavor to do that. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, we need to step up. Thank you, Mermos. Sandra, do you want to go?
Yes. So my own feedback is on the user experience of the website. I think most of the people that missed the deadline from this end could not had a poor experience navigating to see where the tally form was embedded. So it would be nice if the user experience of that website is improved in such a way that the CTAs are very obvious and the form is in view, so users don't miss it, especially in the mobile view.
Yeah. When you say the city is obvious, do you mean within the form?
No, so the current website, you have to scroll down. You have to scroll beneath the top cards to see the form to enroll.
I see. Yes.
Yeah, so if you don't know that there's a form beneath that, you would miss it.
Okay.
Because yes, the user experience is assuming the user will scroll, and the user might be lost trying to click on those cards because they're interactive, but they lead to no page. So that can mean so people bounce back from there rather than scrolling to see the form. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Sandra is a UX capacity. Bear in mind for your team formation. Joseph.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I have just two questions, and the first one is, I'm going through the form that was placed, the one you recently posted on the website, and then I realized that most people and myself, we selected the option of not being associated to any hub. So I want to know, is this a problem, not being associated to any hub? Is it an issue? And then secondly,
No.
I want to ask, you said we'll be forming our groups ourselves. So when do we start doing that? Do we start now or later or along the line?
It will. Okay, so first question, that's not a problem at all. Hopefully there is a hub nearby that you can relate with through the process. Even if there's not a hub and you've registered, there is nothing stopping you from continuing participating in the whole process. We've decided to make it such that teams can still form, participants can still participate, even if they don't have a hub in their direct vicinity, because we're thinking they can still work on really great projects, and who knows, maybe they can form a hub in the future themselves. As for your second question, the teams will form naturally through the course of the process. It's gonna be emergent, and
Especially between the first and the second learning arc.
Okay, you heard it. Between the first and the second learning arc. Thank you, Delphi. Patrick.
Yes, please. When you were speaking, you spoke of tools. So I just want you to elaborate better on it. When you say tools, which tools are you talking about, please? Is it tools that are going to be used for the hackathon or what exactly, please?
These are tools that. Okay, so this is a really cool question. Part of the essence of Prisma as an organization is to work at this very specific intersection between technology innovation and systems change and practices of systems change. And when you combine those two, we're seeing a need to approach software development and product development differently. It's part of what we're going to try and convey in our facilitation. Now, we've been developing some tools ourselves, some apps that kind of are an expression of that intersection. Trying to create ways to sort of multiply the facilitation capacity with which we facilitate at events. So there's some that address the domain of enrollment. There's some that address the domain of action and agenda building and making decisions together. There's some that address the domain of creating an archive, like a digital commons, to communicate the work and engage a larger audience. And these are the apps that we're going to deploy to the hubs. These apps are like templates upon which for you to build further and sort of adapt to the local context. The idea is for them to just be the smallest possible starting point to unlock something transformational that actually takes shape based on the local context. And we're going to get more into that later. But yeah, that's what I'll say for now. Did that answer your question?
A bit. Thanks.
Okay.
We are going to be diving deeper into this next session. So I promise, and we will have Q&A as well then. I just want to note that we are 15 minutes over the hour that we said this was going to finish. And I'm thinking, because we have 36 people yet here, this is quite successful in a way. So thank you everyone for coming and joining us. And we look forward seeing every one of you on next Thursday, same time, and going deeper in the next enrollment call. Thank you everyone. Ciao, ciao from here.
I think Megan has an announcement, true or false?
Well, I don't know if too many people have left. I guess I'll just jump on here for at least for the recording. It's sort of an announcement of no announcement. So if anyone missed it, you're not missing much. Basically, wanted to say thanks to everyone who did enroll as a hub. We were overwhelmed with, I think about 24 hub applications covering 11 different countries, which is really amazing and surpassed our expectation. So essentially, just wanted to say we have seen, some of the comments coming in regarding some technical, questions about it that I think were just brought up again in the Q&A section. So I'm sure you can sympathize that we do need a bit of time to go through those and get a clear answer back to you on how we will be proceeding with the actual selection. So just wanted to say that we are remaining flexible with that to some extent, although there was the deadline. So just to say, next week we will give a bit more clear guidelines on exactly what to expect if you're hoping to host in person. That's essentially the gist of what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, everyone.
I also just want to say, and this is slightly less important, it's okay if people are starting to drop off, but please continue to reach out to your community members and other people in your region and bring them into the process. Think about people that inspire you. Think about people who know how to turn an energy on in a room. Think about people who are natural leaders and who love working with systems and how to get curious and inquire into that. Researchers, teachers, farmers, especially developers as well. Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.